Frank Martinez never spoke. For 8 years at Grand Plaza Hotel, he hadn't had a conversation with anyone. But every night, he was preparing for something. Equipment checks, route memorization, timing calculations, like he was planning some major operation. Staff found him strange. His cleaning cart didn't have normal supplies. He had special flashlights, cutting tools, and a hidden compartment that no one had seen inside for 8 years. No one could understand what Frank was waiting for. But Frank was waiting, patiently, silently, ready. Until that night came. Welcome to Hidden Legends. Before we dive into this shocking story, tell us in the comments what city you're watching from today, and hit that subscribe button. No one knew what Frank Martinez was waiting for, but he was waiting for 8 years. Every night at 10 p.m., he would enter through the back entrance of Grand Plaza Hotel. Same gray coveralls, same silence, same mysterious behaviors. He'd swipe his personnel card, grab his metal cleaning cart, and begin his strange ritual. First 15 minutes, equipment check. But this wasn't normal cleaning supply inspection. Frank would check the location of every tool in his cart. Some things looked normal, rags, detergents, brooms. But others were the kind no cleaning person would ever need. Special flashlights, different sizes, different powers. Why would a janitor need 5 different flashlights? Strange cutting tools, the kind that could cut metal, break glass. Not for cleaning, definitely for some other purpose. Small electronic devices, radio-like but with different frequencies, emergency frequencies. And strangest of all, Frank's cart had a hidden compartment underneath. For 8 years, no one had seen what was inside. Staff found Frank's behaviors odd. Security guard Mike often saw Frank doing these checks. "Frank, man, are you here to clean or do building inspections?" Frank would just nod his head. Never answered. Who was Frank Martinez really? Official records showed Frank Martinez, 52 years old, single, previous work experience unclear. On his application, he'd only written various jobs. But the marks on Frank's body told a different story. Burn scars on his hands, deep-cut marks on his arms, and most noticeably, a faded tattoo on his left shoulder. The St. Florian symbol. Patron saint of firefighters. Frank's past was complex. Joined the fire department at 20-year firefighting career. Dozens of fire operations. Hundreds of lives saved. Frank's greatest achievement was the 1997 Plaza Tower incident. He had single-handedly evacuated 73 people from an 18-story office building fire. But that operation was also the event that ended Frank's career. After a PTSD diagnosis, Frank decided to retire. At 42, at the peak of his career, Frank's solution was simple: hide, conceal his identity, try to forget his past. In the early years, Frank really tried to forget his past, but he couldn't. Because his old habits continued. When he entered the building, he automatically conducted fire safety analysis, calculated exit routes, performed risk assessments. Over time, Frank developed a different strategy. Be prepared. If a real emergency ever happened, be ready. That's why he collected equipment. That's why he memorized routes. That's why he calculated timing. Frank told himself, "If a fire ever breaks out in this building, I'll be ready." For 8 years, Frank maintained this preparation, without telling anyone, without anyone noticing. October the 23rd, 2024, Tuesday night, 2:17 a.m. Frank was doing his routine checks on the 15th floor. Then he smelled it. Electrical burning smell, very faint, almost unnoticeable. But Frank's nose was trained by 20 years of firefighting experience. At that moment, alarm bells started ringing in Frank's mind. This wasn't a minor malfunction. This was the beginning of a fire. The moment Frank had been preparing for 8 years had come. He dropped his cleaning cart, opened the hidden compartment. What came out wasn't normal cleaning supplies. Professional firefighter helmet, emergency flashlight, radio, rescue equipment. As Frank put these on, he physically transformed. The 8-year-old silent janitor disappeared. The 20-year firefighting captain returned. Frank's assessment was clear. Serious fire would spread rapidly. 127 people in building, maximum evacuation time, 8 minutes. His second move was to activate the fire alarm system, but he knew which alarm to press: general evacuation alarm, fire department call system, smoke barrier system, in sequence, professionally. When the alarm started ringing, the hotel turned into hell. Guests woke up in panic. They started running through the corridors screaming, doors slamming, children crying, elderly people falling. But Frank wasn't in chaos. He began implementing the operation he'd planned for 8 years. He pulled out his megaphone and stepped into the middle of the corridors. His voice filled the entire building. "Stay calm! Controlled evacuation! Do not use elevators! Use the stairs! I will guide you!" When guests heard Frank's voice, they froze. Was this the janitor's voice? This command voice? Where was this authority coming from? But Frank's commands were so clear, so reliable, so professional that people automatically began obeying him. Frank began systematic evacuation. He knocked on every room door, checked guests' conditions, showed emergency exit directions. With his radio, he constantly reported the situation. 15th floor being checked. 14th floor has 8 people. 12th floor elderly guest needs help on stairs. His movement style had completely changed. No longer the slow, silent janitor. Fast, precise, lethally professional fire captain. Thomas Wilson, 73 years old, guest on the 12th floor, had undergone heart transplant and serious leg problems. He couldn't go downstairs alone. He was panicking. The moment Frank saw Wilson, he assessed the situation. Age, physical condition, mobility, everything calculated instantly in his mind. Without hesitation, Frank put Wilson on his back and started carrying him down 12 flights of stairs. A 200-pound man, 12 flights of stairs, emergency conditions. Wilson was in shock and fear. "Son, are you really a janitor? How are you so strong?" Frank, breathing hard but determined. "Right now, I'm your lifesaver. Don't worry, I'll get you to safety." "But how can you stay so calm, so organized?" "Long story, Mr. Wilson. Let's focus on getting out now." While carrying Wilson, Frank was also directing other guests. Multitask operation management. With his radio, he constantly reported status: 15th floor clear. 3 people left on the 14th floor. Elderly guest being carried on 12th floor. ETA 4 minutes. On the 7th floor, he encountered Sarah Mitchell, mother of 2, 6, and 8-year-old girls. The children were crying in terror, mother in panic. "Sir, my children are so scared. What should I do? Where do we need to go?" Frank's approach instantly changed. When talking to children, his voice softened, but authority remained. "Children, my name is Frank. I'm a firefighter, and I'm here to protect you. We're having a big adventure, like dragon hunting. I'm a dragon hunter, and you're my team." The 6-year-old girl stopped crying. "Are you really a dragon hunter?" "Yes, princess. And you're a very brave warrior. Hold your mother's hand and follow me. We'll defeat the dragon." Frank's confident voice mesmerized the children. They weren't crying anymore. They believed in his adventure story. Meanwhile, the fire continued spreading. Frank constantly assessed the situation: smoke density, wind direction, building structural condition, evacuation speed. Frank's mental calculation: fire department will arrive in 6 minutes. By then, he needs to get all guests to safety. Currently, 127 people, 89 evacuated, 38 people remaining. On the 5th floor came the critical moment: the Davis family. Mother, father, and 5-year-old girl. The child was paralyzed with fear, couldn't move. Frank approached the family, got down to the child's eye level. "Hello, beautiful princess. My name is Frank. How brave are you?" The little girl looked at Frank, eyes teary. "I'm scared." "I know, princess, but look, I'm a great dragon hunter, and this building is a big castle. The bad dragon came, but I'll chase him away. Will you help me?" The child slowly nodded. "Great. Now hold your mom and dad's hands. I'll protect you too. We'll leave the castle and go to safety." Frank's story enchanted the child. She began to move. Father looked at Frank in amazement. "Can you tell us who you really are?" Frank hesitated. For the first time in 8 years, he would give a hint of his real identity. "I used to do different jobs. I saved people. What kind of jobs? I got people out of dangerous places. On the second floor came the most critical situation. Elderly couple, Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez, in their 80s. Both had mobility difficulties, couldn't breathe. Frank quickly assessed. 2 people, elderly, slow. Normal procedure would be to carry them on his back, but 2 people simultaneously impossible. Frank made his decision. He put Mrs. Rodriguez on his back, took Mr. Rodriguez's arm. 3 people together, slow but determined, began going down the stairs. Mr. Rodriguez breathing hard. "Son, are you an angel?" Frank smiled. "No, sir. I'm just prepared." "Prepared for what?" "For this moment. I've been preparing for this moment for 8 years." At this point, Frank's radio rang. The fire had grown larger. Upper floors were in danger. "Guardian, what's your status?" 38 people evacuated. Last 4 people on first floor. Building will be cleared in 3 minutes. "Guardian, excellent work." The last guests, young couple, were waiting on the first floor. Jake and Emma on their honeymoon, scared but healthy. When Frank approached them, he smiled. "Honeymoon adventure, huh? You'll still be telling this story 50 years from now." Jake laughed. "Yes, sir." "Thank you." "I thank you. You behaved wonderfully." Frank did the final check. 127 guests evacuated. No injuries, no missing persons. Mission accomplished. Fire sirens were approaching. Frank was doing final checks. 127 guests safely evacuated. No injuries. Fire Chief Captain Rodriguez saw a man in gray coveralls describing the fire's location with professional hand signals. "Captain Martinez? Is that you?" Frank turned his head. "Hey, Rodriguez. Long time." "Frank, what are you doing here?" "I've been working here for 8 years. Tonight my old habits came in handy." Rodriguez looked around. Perfect evacuation, professional coordination, no injuries. "Frank, did you manage this operation?" "Until the fire department arrived, yes." "You evacuated 127 people alone." "I was ready." That word summed up everything. Frank had been preparing for 8 years. Hotel guests approached when they saw Frank talking to the fire chief. "Thomas Wilson. Son, who are you really?" Frank hesitated. For the first time in 8 years, he would tell the complete truth. "Retired Fire Captain Frank Martinez. I served for 20 years." Wilson's eyes filled with tears. You're a real hero." Captain Rodriguez continued. "Frank isn't just a hero. Remember the 1997 Plaza Tower fire? Frank was the one who saved 73 people." Guests were in shock. This silent janitor was actually a legendary firefighter, Sarah Mitchell. "You saved my children. I don't know how to thank you." "I was ready," Frank simply said. "Frank, maybe it was always my duty, just in different ways." Rodriguez. "Frank, would you consider coming back to us?" Frank. "I'm on a different mission now. This building, these people, I protect them. For 20 years I protected the city. Now I protect this place. Same duty, different scale." 3 months later, Frank Martinez became security director of Grand Plaza Hotel. He also returned to the city fire department as a consultant. Frank no longer did cleaning but still walked through the hotel every night. Now, for protection, hotel guests would approach and thank Frank when they saw him. "I prepared for 8 years," he would say. "I hoped it would never happen, but I had to be ready." Frank's office had 2 photographs, one from his 20-year firefighting career, the other taken with the 127 guests he saved that night. "I had 2 missions," Frank would say. "First was to protect the city. Second was to protect these people. I completed both." And every night at 2:17, Frank remembered that moment. The moment when 8 years of preparation ended. The moment he broke free from his hidden identity and found his true self. Frank Martinez was no longer hidden, but he was still a protector. Because some people never change. They just wait for the right moment. Have you ever met someone like Frank Martinez? People who appear ordinary but silently prepare, emerging at critical moments? Share their stories in the comments. At Hidden Legends, we continue discovering these hidden protectors living among us. If this story moved you, like and subscribe. Help these hidden heroes' stories continue to be told. Until the next video. Remember, the silent man cleaning next to you might just be someone preparing to save your life.